Hey Pink Hollow friends, it's Miss Kate. I am here to guide you through our first project called the Collage Birdhouse. There's also a document uploaded to our Google Classroom of step-by-step how to do this project. So pretty much it's exactly what we're doing here. So if you get stuck and you need some reminders, that document is available for you, and it's called Project 1 Collage Birdhouse. Now what you need for this project is all in your art bag except for your watercolor paints. Those you got last spring, so see if you can find your watercolor paints. Otherwise, you can use a white crayon for this project. You will need your paintbrush and a little bit of water. You're going to need a background. Now if you don't have your watercolor paints, that's okay. You do need to find a blue sheet of paper for the sky in the back of your birdhouse. Otherwise, I'm going to show you how to paint your background. You are going to need the magazine pages that Miss Carrie and I put into your art kit. You're going to need a scissors, which is also in your art kit. If you choose to, at the end, if you would like to outline your magazine pieces, I can show you the difference here. This one is not outlined, this one is outlined. If you choose to outline, you'll need your permanent marker as well. I'm going to set those guys up there. Okay, so our first part of our project is going to be to paint the background. So what you'll need for right now is the white sheet of paper, your watercolor paints, some water, and your brush. If you would like, you can ask a parent if you have a cotton ball. That makes the painting a lot quicker, because what I've learned is that they've changed the sizes that they've sent the paintbrush that belongs with the paints. It used to be an 8 or a 10, and now it's a 6, which is a much smaller brush, which is great for details, but not great for painting large areas like we're doing. So here's my suggestion. If you don't have a cotton ball, go ahead and take your time with your smaller paintbrush. We're going to get our green paint wet and our blue paint wet. So I'm just adding some water there. So with our green paint, we're just going to add a little bit of a hilly background. That's going to be behind our birdhouse. Move this up so you can see I'm just going ahead and painting. Anytime that you would like to pause the video so that you have enough time to paint, that's a great strategy. If you would like to just paint along with me, I'm going to try to not get my edges, or maybe I'll put a magazine behind so I don't get my background edges all painted. So I'm going to go ahead and use my great editing skills to pause my video so I can finish this up. Okay, I've got my grass painted here. Now I'm going to show you what I meant by using the cotton ball. If you kind of wanted to go a little bit quicker, I'm just dipping my cotton ball into my water, picking up a little bit of blue paint, and going ahead and just doing a really quick watercolor wash. I can always add more. If I'm fast, I can pick up some more blue paint and make it darker. Once again, I am going to watch my edges here. Now, if you are choosing to use your paintbrush, this is going to take you quite a bit of time, and that's okay. You can break up this art assignment into 2 sessions or 3 sessions. However long you want to spend on it is just fine. The only reason I put due dates on the art projects in Google Classroom is so that you don't forget that they're out there waiting for you to complete. All right. So now my background is ready to dry. So I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to set it off in the corner. I'm now done completely. I'm completely done with my watercolors. So I'm going to put those away. My next step is to work on the birdhouse. For that step and most of the steps afterwards, we need our magazine pages that Miss Carrie and I put into your art bags. We need a glue stick, and we need our scissors. If you would like to draw your lines on when you're cutting, you can also use your permanent marker, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is just turn your pages over and decide which side you think you're going to want to use. And that might change as you're making your bird and your birdhouse, but it's a good starting point. I think I am going to make my birdhouse out of this, which is, I think it's just Valentine's Day candy. There we go. And what we are going to be doing is folding our magazine page in half and drawing the shape of our birdhouse, which, if you look, is like a square with a triangle sitting on top of it. So we're going to take our paper, going to fold it in half, so just like this, and we are going to draw the shape of half of our birdhouse. So let me show you. So that was my triangle piece and my square piece. Now the reason that it's folded in half is so that when I open it up, I get my full birdhouse. And I'm going to cut it out carefully. Now one thing that I did estimate, now this is about the 5th one of these that I've made, but I kind of used my background to estimate the size. I don't want a teeny tiny birdhouse, and I don't want a birdhouse that takes up the whole paper. So I used my background just to estimate what size I might need. So that's a pretty good size. It takes up some of my background, but I still have room for my bird if I choose to put it up here or down here. And I still have room for a little detail flower if I would like to add that later. So here's my birdhouse. The next step is to add the hole that the bird goes in and the detail. If you want to get really detailed, you can add the hole the bird goes in, the roof detail, and a window. Now I suggest when you're adding the hole for your project, and I'm going to, since this has a white background, I'm going to slide this dark blue paper on it so you can see that better. I suggest you find a contrasting color, maybe a really dark color or a really light color. So you can see how this bright orange sticks out nicely on that dark brown birdhouse. Maybe I'll cut out one of these little chocolates and see how that looks. This one over here maybe. If I don't like that, I can always just cut out maybe some of the white paper and put that on. So right now I am cutting around the circle for my birdhouse and setting it on. I'm not gluing it on yet because I'm not sure I like it. In fact, that's kind of hard to see that it's a circle. So I'm going to try a different color. I think I had a plain blue. Yep, I do have some plain blue. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to make my birdhouse entrance a little bit bigger and with a nice solid dark color. There we go. I like that a lot better. Now I'm going to work on the roof detail. Pretty much just 2 straight color strips. And I really do like that yellow, so I'm going to use some of this right here and cut that out for my birdhouse. Remember, if I'm going too fast for you, go ahead and pause it. You can pause me for as long as you like. In fact, if you are a little bit overwhelmed and ready to be done with art for today, you can always pause the video and come back to it tomorrow. Okay, so I've got my strip of color. I'm going to cut 2 strips about the same width. We're not going for perfection here, so it doesn't have to be perfectly or exactly the same. All right, so nothing is glued yet. I'm just going to do some setting it on there, see what I like. I do like that, but I think it's too long, so I'm going to trim it. And then I'm going to trim this one as well. All right. Now I'm ready to do some gluing. I'm not going to glue onto my background because my background is still wet. If you've taken some time and paused the video, your background might be dry. And then you could glue onto there, but for the purpose of what I'm doing today, my background is still wet, so I'm not gluing it onto the background. All right, I'm going to glue my other roof piece here. And then I'm going to glue my entrance, my birdhouse entrance. Ooh, maybe I want to do it up here. That'd be cool. All right, so my birdhouse now has some details. If you want, you can add, you know, a window towards the top of your birdhouse if you want. I might add a little door or something down here. We'll see. I also might make it, ooh, that's a good idea. Maybe I just want it to be a shorter birdhouse. So I'm just going to trim him. Now I have a short birdhouse. Awesome. So my birdhouse is done. It's ready to be set aside, and I'm going to work on my bird. Now here's 2 examples of the bird. So you can see this bird here. It's made up of a big circle, a large half circle for the body, 2 half circles for the wings, a triangle for the tail, and a triangle for the beak. This bird is made up of the same set of shapes. Large half circle for the body, smaller circle for the head, 2 half circles for the wings, triangle tail, triangle beak. So that is what we are going to be working on. Now I've broken up the bird into the shapes we need here, so we can remember that guy. Set our birdhouse over here. All right, I think I would like to make a bird out of orange. So I'm going to go through all of my magazine pieces. And here's some peaches. Perfect. So I need to make a body for my bird. You can draw, if you would like, you can draw out your half circle. Oops. Or if you feel pretty confident, you don't need to draw it out. You can just go ahead and cut it. I'm going to cut on the inside of those thick black lines so that I don't see them in the final product. All right, so there's my bird's body. I'm going to do his head next, and I'm going to use another peach. If you would like your bird's head to be a totally different color, that's fine too. The bird's head is a circle. So here's my bird's head. The next step are the wings. Now your wings, if you make them the exact same color, you won't be able to see them. So you are going to want to choose a color that's a little bit different. I'm going to make mine maybe this nice teal color. I do like that avocado green though. Oof, that might be nice. I'm going to try to use this. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I like for my wings to be the same size and the same shape. And if I fold my paper in half, then I know they'll be the exact same size and the exact same shape. My wings need to fit on my bird, so they do need to be smaller than my body. So I'm going to make my wings a little bit smaller than my body. Cut on the inside of my line so that it's not part of my final project. And then I drew on the fold. So if I opened it up, it's going to be a circle shape, which I don't want. I want 2 wings. So I'm cutting right down that line, and I have 2 wings that are the same size and the same shape. One wing can go here, and the other wing gets tucked behind the body like that. Now, I don't like this right here. It's not enough contrast, so I'm going to try using the other wing in the front. I like that better. And then the lighter wing in the back. Because they're not glued down, I can do that. I can change things around a little bit. All right, now your tail. Your tail can be the same as your head and body, like this bird. I used the same magazine page for all 3 pieces. Or it can be different. So maybe I would like a teal. This teal is really beautiful. I'm going to use that for his tail. The tail is just a triangle. So I have my triangle. I could make a long tail. I could make a short, wide tail. So try a couple different positions till you find one that you like. I like that position for this bird. Now I'm going to use that same blue and make a smaller circle for the eye. So you can see this guy, he has a small yellow circle and a smaller black circle. This guy has a larger green circle and then a smaller black circle. So we're going to do a teal circle. So I'm cutting that guy out. Remember, if you need a break, go ahead and pause that video. All right, there's my first part of my eyeball. And then I've got some really dark in this avocado right here, and I will cut out a smaller circle for the center of my eye, or the pupil. All right, now, if you can't cut a perfect circle, that's okay. There we go. Does anybody tell what I'm missing? I'm missing one piece on my bird. It's his beak. You can make your beak any color you like. I think I'm going to use this nice light yellow that I see here. And I'm going to cut a beak that is way too big. And I'm going to show you why. If I cut my beak this big, I have a lot of choices I can make. Maybe I want a big beak on my bird, but if I just push it in further, I can see what he looks with a smaller beak. And pull it out. Maybe it's a medium, or maybe I do like him to have a really big beak. I think he's kind of cute with a big beak, so I think I'll leave it just like that. As you can see, he's not glued together yet, so I can still play with the placement a little bit. Now I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to start gluing his parts on. I'm going to start with gluing this part of his eye, the pupil, into the blue section. Then I'm going to glue the blue section onto his big circle for his head. Now, if I want him looking up, I could glue it pointed up. If I want him looking down, I could glue it pointed down, but I think I'm going to have him looking straight ahead. Now I'm going to glue his beak on by lifting up the circle, putting some glue on there, and then making sure that the beak is pointed where I want it to point. All right, so his head is glued together. I'm going to glue his wings on. Here's one wing. And put a little bit of glue on that corner because he hides back there a little bit. There's his other wing. And then the tail I can either glue on the front or the back, whichever you prefer. I actually prefer being able to see that point. So I have my body glued together in my head. Before I glue the head onto the body, I need to decide if I want him looking up, looking down, looking straight. You get to decide how you want your bird to look. I'm going to have mine like this. Looking outwards. So that is how my bird is. He's going to be flying towards his birdhouse. So go ahead now, if you have a dry background, now is a good time to play with placement of your birdhouse and your bird. So I think maybe I would like my bird underneath my birdhouse. That means that I need a really long pole to put my birdhouse on. If you have would like your bird maybe on top of your birdhouse, you're going to need to make a smaller rectangle for the pole. Any color will work. I'll show you on this one. I have dark brown for the stand and pole. And for this one, we have an orange for the stand and pole. I think for this one, I'm going to have him underneath the birdhouse. And I'm going to do a long pole. And I'm going to use this strip right here for my stand and pole. I'm going to see if this is big enough. Ooh, just big enough for my stand. And this will be tall enough for my pole. Awesome. So if your background is dry, you can start gluing those on. My background is a little bit wet, but not too bad. So I'm going to try to glue mine on. Here we go. Remember to get that glue right up to the edges, friends. And finally, my stand. Okay, and I'm going to trim the bottom a little bit. It's just fine if you have some pieces of your birdhouse that are coming off the edges. That's totally okay. Ooh, I even have room to maybe have my bird. Ooh, I like him like this. I'm going to have him flying down in front of my birdhouse. So I'm just carefully gluing all the edges. Pressing down. Any edges that are sticking up, just add a little bit more glue. Now, for some of you, this project took a really long time and you're happy with how it looks and you just want to be done today, right now. That's okay. If you would like to add your flower on to your birdhouse, okay, so here's two different examples of that. You sure can, and I'm going to walk you through that right now. But if you are done with yours and don't want a flower, all you need to do is put your name down in the corner. That's my artist signature there. And you take a picture of your finished project and you upload it to our assignment. That's called Collage Birdhouse. All right, friends who are ready to do a flower, I'm going to add a little flower. All right, friends, if you would like to add that flower detail, so I'm going to show you this one, and then there's this one here. Those are pretty much just flowers made with 6 petals. You can have 4 petals, you can have 10 petals, totally up to you. If you would like to make petals that are all about the same size, I suggest folding your paper before you cut it. So I'm going to fold this one in half, so that would give me 2 petals. In half again would give me 4 petals. And I'm going to try to do in half again. Okay, so that would give me 8 petals. Now, if you would like to draw your petal shape on, you sure can. So a petal shape is pretty much the same as like a water droplet or a teardrop. So I've drawn mine on there. Now, of course, when it's folded this many times, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to cut. So I'm going to carefully cut inside my lines. Here we go. And down here. And I should have a bunch of petals that are very similar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 petals that are about the same size and shape. And then I need a center for my flower. And your center should be a circle in a different color, like a contrasting color. I am going to use some of this yellow here for my center. And I'm just going to cut a circle out of that contrasting color. And then I'm going to look for some green so that I can do my leaves. I'm looking through my magazine pages to see if I have any green. There's a little bit of green. Otherwise, I think I might be stuck using my avocado. That's okay. We can use our avocado for green, and I guess I have a lizard here too. So I've got an avocado and a lizard for green. So I'm going to make 2 different leaves. I'm going to cut out this green here. You know what? I see some green here I can use too. So for this one, I'm going to just cut a nice skinny leaf. There we go. And then maybe I'll use this one here. Yeah, the lizard is not quite the right color, I don't think. Alright, so I have those for my leaves. So my background is dry now, so I'm going to assemble my flower right where I want it on my background, and I think I'm going to put mine down in this corner here. So what I'm going to do is just do maybe a little circle of glue to help my petals stick. So here we go. And I probably won't use all 8 petals. I'm just going to start sticking them on and see how many will fit. It looks like maybe 7. If I can squeeze these guys over just a tiny bit. There we go. I can fit 7 of my 8 petals. Then I can do my center of my flower here. And I am going to put my leaves under here, coming right off the side of the page, and that's totally fine. So there's my flower, and I'm going to go through and glue down each of the tips of my petals. So basically, once you've done your birdhouse, your bird, and if you would like to add that flower detail, you are pretty much done. There is one more step that Miss Carrie taught me that I really, turns out I kind of like it, and that's to outline all of your special features in permanent marker. So this one here has been outlined in permanent marker. And it really just gives it more of an illustration style like you might see in a children's book. This one does not have an outline. So they're just two different looks. Whichever one you prefer is totally fine. I'm going to outline my bird so you can see how the outlining makes it pop. So here's what it looks like without the outline. And just going to go ahead and take my permanent marker, slowly, carefully outline my shapes. And you'll be able to see how much it pops. Here we go. Here's that beak. I'm going to probably have to glue that down a little bit more. All right, and now you can see how much more it pops with that black outline. So that would be the final step, and that would be up to you. Certainly don't have to do that, but it does help everything pop a little bit more. All right, once you are done, happy with it, take a picture of it and upload it to the Google assignment. This assignment is called Collage Birdhouse, and I cannot wait to see what you've done. We'll see you next week, guys.